Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Sports Talk Network channel, and welcome to the Monday Night Raw review here for August 7th, 2017. And I see each and every video now until I get to the prediction video. I will be off camera and reasons, but I will make my camera debut and re-debut at for the SummerSlam prediction episode. But I got a lot to say here in the start of the show in regards to tonight's Monday Night Raw. Hopefully, some of my team members are able to join, give their thoughts as well. But I just wanted to go on a mini rant or thoughts on things right off the bat. Whether you agree or disagree, let me know in the comments section below. If you're watching this archive or in the live chat here on your right side, just watching live. But first thing I want to say is you have Brock Lesnar on the show, right? And I didn't even know he was supposed to be on Monday Night Raw tonight. You have him on the show. You have him on Miz TV interacting with Miz Taraj. Paul Heyman doing the whole role-playing thing. And the Miz is Roman Reigns. Bo Dallas is Samoa Joe. And Curtis Axel is Braun Strowman. And as he said, his client Brock Lesnar is going to preview SummerSlam, and it gives everybody a 5%. Okay, that was interesting, entertaining, whatever. But you have Brock Lesnar on the show, one of his dates, and you don't have him actually interacting with the people he's actually going to be facing. Now, for those that are really saying, well, we're just going to wait till next week, wait till the go-home show for them to interact at all with Brock Lesnar, not with each other, period, because we know we have just finished up with the show in the main event, Braun Strowman, Roman Reigns, last man standing match, where Braun Strowman won and Samoa Joe came out. And thank the Lord above that Samoa Joe interfered in this match. Otherwise, that'd be another thing I'd be upset about. Why would you not have Samoa Joe on the show at all? That would have been the dumbest thing. And the build to this SummerSlam, I WWE would have done. I'm just saying, in my personal and humble opinion about that specifically. If you didn't have Samoa Joe on the show at all. So thank the good Lord above that WWE wasn't that dumb, that they had Samoa Joe interfere in that match, helping Braun Strowman win, even though that looked kind of goofy and stupid. And the way where Braun Strowman just got up, I think they were at the kind of 7 or 8. I don't know. I don't really care. And Braun got right back up, boom, just like that, to answer the count of 10 and for him to win. Whether that was the way it's supposed to go, fine, whatever. But it just looked at him in that way. It showed too much of it being scripted, which we already know. But I'm just saying, I'm sure even to the casuals and younger fans, they might have been dumb fun about it like that. You know, I think of them in that way. Also, Booker T, 5-time WCW champion. Surefire Hall of Famer in my eyes. I don't know. Maybe he already went into the Hall of Fame, but I'm sure he will be at some point if he hasn't already. But as a commentator, oh my God, that guy needs help. Come on, bro, you need help. It's just, to me, it just seems like he's lost, especially this week. Like, either lost, or if he is supposed to be written that way, he is written to be a total buffoon. Because some of the interactions, and Corey Graves called him out on a couple of them, and I wish I remember specifically so I can have better footing on this argument, but just go back and watch Monday Night Raw. Watch some situation between Corey Graves and Booker T, or Booker T in general, and some of the weird crap he was saying. It just, I don't know. As a commentator, no thank you, Booker T. As a wrestler, would love to see you in a match again. Come back for a Royal Rumble or two. Last for most of it. I don't care. Be one of the finalists in the Royal Rumble match. I mean, you're awesome. You're a legend in your own right. Future Hall of Famer if you're not already a Hall of Famer, okay? But in my humble opinion, I want David Otunga back on commentary to take over for Booker T. Because remember, Booker T's taking over for David Otunga, who was filming his movie and this and that. You know, I thought he came back for pre-show Raws or whatever's, and I think pre-show pay-per-views. But WWE needs to get Otunga back to actually be on Monday Night Raw, where he was supposed to go part of the shakeup, if I remember correctly, but not part of the draft, but part of the Superstar shakeup there. So I don't know, just my opinion there. I just wanted to share that. I'm sure a lot of people are going to disagree with that, but again, just my opinion on that. Also, you have Bayley coming out there to talk about that she's out, and the person interviewing asked, so who do you think's going to win? And of course, she goes with her friend, her amiga, Sasha Banks. and Sasha Banks, wins and this and that. And that in itself got me upset, got me triggered and whatnot. Not because I hate Sasha Banks. I want to make sure that's pretty clear. I don't hate Sasha Banks. I respect Sasha Banks. As my co-hosts know, Mark Rambo, Kyron Chase, Palmer J. Simmons, and others, and just people watching weekly, and I thank you for that, know that I've talked up Sasha Banks a lot and respect her, one of the best women in the WWE, let alone in professional wrestling for women's wrestling. Okay, so that's, its own sidebar. But with Sasha Banks winning tonight, Sasha Banks maybe winning next week against Nia Jax to face Alexa Bliss at SummerSlam, as big as that match is, and as much as that was been bloviated for the past week or so, especially when it was talked about on Bring It to the Table there. And yes, I did see that. I finally was able to see that late last night after watching other things. Of the real heat between Sasha Banks and Alexa Bliss, how much that'd be money and great and this and that for WWE and SummerSlam, the Raw division and Women's division and this and that. No, I don't think that's the way it should go. I think Nia Jax should win next week. I hope Nia Jax wins next week. Is Nia Jax going to win this week? Well, since I'm hoping that's going to happen, it's probably going to be the opposite, because that seems like how things go at least as a fan in the wrestling world. But then again, you can't have everything. So I need to get off my high horse in that thinking. But still, I'll be voting for Nia Jax. I'll be hoping for Nia Jax. And if Sasha Banks wins, then fine. Sasha Banks wins. And I promise, as I'm saying here live on air, I will not rant about it next week if Sasha Banks wins. If she wins, I'll just bring it up in my review and move on. Bring it up on Thursday's prediction episode next week and move on and predict the match along with our great guests that we're going to have. That's what I'm going to do. But right now, I'm going to, as some would say, whine, bitch, and complain about it, because as we say with the men's division, as we say with IC Championship, World, now the Universal, or how our favorites, we want them, and it's not like, why is John Cena? Like, John Cena. Oh, John Cena's on the throat. John Cena this. John Cena that. John Cena needs to retire. Some say that about the Big Show, but it's more so of a better argument with John Cena. To me, Sasha Banks is slowly becoming the John Cena of the women's division. I'm just going to say it. Sasha Banks, to me, in my opinion, is becoming the John Cena of the women's division. So I just want to make sure that you heard me loud and clear, because sometimes I do mumble and stumble when I'm talking. I want to make sure people heard every single word out of my mouth in that statement, because in my opinion, I feel that is the case. Sasha Banks is talented. Sasha Banks is awesome. She has great talent, this and that. But to me, it just seems like there are other women in that division, Emma being one of them, but other women in the division that I do believe at this time should be getting a chance, let alone winning, especially for the fact that we were supposed to get Bayley versus Alexa Bliss at WWE SummerSlam 2017 edition, and Bayley gets injured for real. She's out. Now we need to find a replacement. I would think and hope, even though it would just be for a throw that person out there, they would go with somebody else. Heck, I would have been happy if out of nowhere Emma rolls up and gets Sasha, even winning dirty, pulling her tights or whatever. I don't give two what. Do it however. Have Emma get a surprise win, and people on other podcasts, whether Bite That Cast, here at Steve's Wrestling Ramble, or otherwise, whatever, being talking about that. Like, oh my gosh, Emma got to win, and now it's Emma against Nia Jax. Who's going to win? We'd all have our opinions about it, but whatever. It'd be more intriguing, more interesting, at least in that way. Now, it's interesting and intriguing in the way of Sasha Banks in her hometown in Boston, Massachusetts. Will she win or will she lose? Will it be a hometown curse, as Stephen A. brought up on Twitter in our interaction? Follow him on Twitter at Stephen A. 1181. And Kyron Chase himself, follow him on Twitter at /BroKyron. Said WWE wouldn't be dumb enough for that to happen. Well, I don't know, bro. That might be the fact they'd be that dumb. And I wouldn't care, because I just said earlier I would want Nia Jax to win. I'm going to be cheering and hoping for Nia Jax to win. Not because of the whole hometown curse sticking to Sasha that way, but more of Nia Jax, Emma, and others in the Raw Women's Division, let alone in the Women's Division overall. But more specifically, the Raw Women's Division, that is what we're talking about here specifically to the Raw brand. Other women that deserve a chance, a shot, should get a shot, even if you're just shoehorning them in just for this one match at SummerSlam for Alexa Bliss to go over. Now, again, maybe I'm overthinking this. Maybe I'm caring too much. Maybe I'm too much of a mark. Whatever. Fine, that's your opinion, and I respect that. But that's just how I feel, and I have this platform on my channel to share what I feel and how I feel. Part of me wished I was on camera for you to see it in my eyes. Because trust me, you'd see into my soul if you were looking in my eyes right now. But it just, I don't know, it irks me so much that I know it shouldn't. But before I keep rambling, let me welcome my co-host for the evening, Kyron Chase. Hi, how you doing? Let me know what you thought of anything I said and anything you might want to get off your chest before we actually talk about the actual show that tonight that was its own mess of a mess, Monday Night Raw.
How am I doing, Steve? I'm actually kind of pissed off right now. Now, I don't usually when I do the review, I don't usually do the review of Raw for the week. I just do SmackDown in the main show Thursday. But something that Raw happened that pissed me off to no end. I had to talk about it, and I didn't want to do it on my channel. So I said, all right, let me join Steve tonight for this one. First off, let me just say, overall, I didn't really enjoy the next episode of Raw. There are a few things I liked, and we'll get into what I liked. But I hear what you're saying about the women's division, and while I personally want Sasha to win next week and take the title from Alexa at SummerSlam because of what I've been saying the last few weeks of the storyline they could have done, but now they don't really have time to build on it. I agree with you. I do feel other women should be pushed, especially, Emma should be pushed. Even Mickey, even though she's, older, she's still one of the better women's wrestlers on Raw. But, I personally like Sasha. She's one of my favorites, so I have no problem with her getting a title shot, especially because of how the match against Alexa ended at Great Balls of Fire by a count out. So I was surprised they gave it to Bayley in general. It should have been given to Sasha because, storyline purposes, she deserved a shot because she won at Great Balls of Fire by a count out because Alexa intentionally got herself counted out. But I'm just gonna talk about why I really need to vent. The crowd. More so the crowd during Bayley's segment. First off, let me just say this now. If you don't like someone's character, it's perfectly fine. Whether I like that person or not, I really don't care whether you like someone's character. My issue is when you cheer for someone who's legitimately injured. Not a storyline injury. I'm talking about when a person really is injured and you cheer it. When I'm reading the comments of said video of Bayley's segment, I'm just saying people happy that she's injured. Whether you like her character or not, I don't care. But the woman herself does not deserve to be injured. And then you got the Toronto crowd booing her. Like, okay, whether you like her or not, I don't care, like I said. But she's a person at the end of the day. And when you're happy she's injured, I don't have respect for you because you could be in the same situation she is. So yes, that really did anger me to the point where I barely never keep focus on Raw because even though that segment happened, an hour into the show, I haven't been happy. It's been on the back of my mind all night. And, just in the whole crowd in general, I didn't really like the night, but especially during that segment of them booing Bayley while she's pretty much saying, I have to get surgery on my shoulder. I hated that.
Yeah, I didn't even think of it that way. Yeah, it kind of annoyed me, but it didn't upset me to the point, since that was a part of my ramblings, to the point that it pissed you off about that. But it did kind of annoy me with them booing her. I don't know if they were just being trolls there in the crowd because they can be, because hey, they paid the money, they can say what they want, right? So hey, why not? Or if they were legitimately booing her when she was trying to say things, and she's legitimately injured and legitimately out of SummerSlam. As you said, it's not storyline, it's real this time, and a crowd there live, whether it's in Canada or otherwise, wherever it would have been, the show should have respected Bayley, whether you like her character, like her in general, whatever your personal opinions are, those in the crowd live, let alone those watching on television or otherwise. So, yeah, that annoyed me, but again, that's the point that pissed me off. One thing that did annoy me more, to the point that almost was pissing me off, is the Dean Ambrose Seth Rollins thing. that situation, but I guess I'll talk about that when we talk about that segment on Monday Night Raw. I'm going to take a look here in the comments section. I see that Garrett Cameron and Jay Thomas have been interacting a while I was going through my ramblings here. Thomas saying that I sounded a bit on edge tonight. Yes, I am. Garrett saying I do not care about WWE, period, but because they lack the fundamentals of writing a story. One episode run needs to be 1 or 2 storylines with major storylines woven in throughout the show, with loads of mini storylines woven throughout. So he's saying that's what they need to do, and that's, I guess, what they, to his eyes, they don't do. I just want to share a couple things there in the live chat before we start talking about piece by piece Monday Night Raw. Start off with Miz TV, Miz calling out Jason Jordan, Kurt Angleton coming out, and Brock Lesnar coming out being part of Miz TV. I already talked about that part of my ranting. So, Kyron, what were your thoughts on the opening segment of Brock Lesnar being part of that and not being at all part of the end of the show?
Actually, I actually like the opening segment. Miz and Heyman are two of the best on the mic in WWE. You could argue the two best men on the mic, and they both shined with Miz, saying how no one's really going to miss Brock, and, the other three be better candidates for the Universal Champion, all which I agree with. And Heyman pretty much running the Miz and the Miztourage down, and Brock destroying everyone. I thought it was a pretty good opening segment. It didn't drag, and it did what it needed to do. It was actually one of the few things I actually did like about Raw tonight.
Yeah, I respect that. To me, I mean, I enjoyed it for what it was. I just didn't like the fact that that's how they used Brock Lesnar tonight for that segment. Then should have had him part of the ending. I mean, it would have been all right if they had him here and then had him also, you bookend him, have him at the start of the show, interacting with Miz and Miztourage, and then having him at the end of the show interacting with the people he's actually going to be facing at SummerSlam. In that way, you have him there anyways. You might as well have him interacting with people he's actually going to face in that Fatal 4-Way match. So, just to me, it seemed like in a way, it seemed like they misused his date there being there on Raw. At least just to me. Raw Tag Team Champion or 1/2 Sheamus defeating Seth Rollins 1-on-1, and then afterward attacking. Was thinking, hoping maybe Dean Ambrose would come out, maybe not. I didn't even know of Ambrose's match further, so I didn't even realize he was going to have a match on his own. But at that point, I thought maybe, come out there. Maybe that's the moment of them doing the old shield fist bump thing and them interacting that way. But no Dean Ambrose coming out there. Sheamus just getting the win. And the Raw Tag Team Champions, it went over on Seth Rollins. What were your thoughts on the match and afterwards as well?
I'll be honest, I didn't really watch the match. But even during that time, I didn't really feel the need to really want to rewind anything because the important stuff happened before and after the match with Dean pretty much telling Seth he wasn't coming out and Dean not coming out when Seth got attacked. The match I didn't really care for. I didn't watch it. Probably was a good match, but because they did the same exact match last week, I didn't want to watch it. Now, if they had done Seth versus Cesaro and Dean versus Sheamus, I'd have been fine with that. But doing the exact same match you did last week was admittedly a good match. I really don't care anymore. And of course, 50-50 booking. Seth won last week. Sheamus wins this week. I didn't care enough to want to watch it.
All right, respect that. One match that I think most might not care to watch, but Jason Jordan didn't have a match against Jean-Pierre Goulet, Canadian himself. But Jason Jordan just squashing the guy and getting the win. Not too much to say about that. I guess maybe Jason's just going to get a couple of squash matches, get that kind of booking. Well, at least 2 of them heading into SummerSlam probably will be facing the Miz for the Intercontinental Championship. Will he win? Probably not, but certainly getting an opportunity. But right now, just going through the phases. So not much for me to say about the match because it was what it was, and I assume the same for you for what it was.
I once again didn't watch it. I don't care. I did not care. I didn't care about. I cared about this less than I did about the Seth Rollins stuff. At least I care about Seth, Dean, Cesaro, and Sheamus. While I don't hate Jason Jordan or nothing, WWE isn't giving me much of a reason to care about him. So once again, did not watch it, especially because I realized it was going to be a squash. Because it was obvious the storyline they're telling that Kurt actually was faking his injury. But other than that, I didn't watch it, and I once again didn't watch it, didn't care.
Reading a couple comments here again. Garrett Cameron, Jay Thomas. This one from Garrett Cameron. Brock should drop the title the night after SummerSlam to make things interesting. That would be interesting, but likelihood would be to actually happen at SummerSlam. That'd be a bigger moment for whoever would win it. And I would actually think it would not to be Samoa Joe. So certainly would be interesting to see where that play out. But I don't hate that idea, but I think that we'd rather go with him dropping it at the pay-per-view event itself, since it was the night before. Might as well do it then. Jay Thomas chiming in, W needs to make things more interesting. It seems they like keeping it interesting only at pay-per-views, but Raws and SmackDowns have been getting kind of boring. So I heard Raw and SmackDown getting kind of boring. Boo said out. Well, they've certainly tried it with SmackDown Live the last couple of weeks to me, so it seems like they're doing that there. But here on Raw, I agree. It just seems like the show's being meh. I don't know if anybody's seen the Emoji Movie yet. Meh. Pretty much what Raw has been for the past couple of weeks at least. Excuse me, at least to me. Then we come to here the Bayley segment. We're talking about her injury. Karen, as he already alluded to, with the crowd and their reaction to Bayley. Again, it didn't upset me to the point of pissing me off, but it did annoy me a bit with the fans kind of disrespecting her. They're in the live crowd, let alone what fans might have been saying to the TV screen while they're watching. That might dislike the Bayley character. Again, this is a real thing that's going on, not a kayfabe storyline thing. Show a little bit more respect, at least in my humble opinion there. And also, we have this match, Sasha Banks, Emma, Alicia Fox, first triple threat qualifying match for what next week will be one-on-one to determine the new number one contender to face Alexa Bliss at WWE SummerSlam. Sasha Banks getting the win by having Emma. So that was kind of also annoying to me, but I didn't bring that up in my rant. But having her tap out Emma in the Banks statement and getting the win, I would rather it being Alicia Fox. Again, no offense to Foxy, but I think Emma should have been protected a little bit more, again, in my opinion. But the point is Sasha Banks getting the win, Sasha Banks moving on. What are your thoughts on the match and anything else you might want to add? We're dealing with Bayley and her promo.
I'd rather not talk about the Bayley segment anymore because I don't want to get any more angry than I already am. But the match itself, it wasn't a very good match, and the Toronto crowd let them know it because they chanted this match sucks. Once again, I think Sasha and Emma especially are very good wrestlers, but the crowd just crapped all over it. And I don't think the match is very well worked anyway. I didn't hate the match, but it could have been much better. But it's whatever at this point.
Yeah, I mean, it is going to be what it's going to be, and Sasha getting the win, as much as it did annoy me, as I already brought up. Again, I don't want to keep bringing it up, otherwise I'll keep getting heated and going in probably be a random cycle. But moving on, Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson, the club defeating Enzo and more in the Big Show. It seems like we're gonna have Enzo teaming up with another big guy again, at least for the short term. Saying they're getting tag team title matches anytime soon, but it's interesting, I guess, nonetheless. They actually are making them a tag team. I think maybe having Enzo still going single, but with a friendly alliance, the Big Show in that way, I guess, where I saw maybe. I know that people were thinking maybe have him go back to NXT, 205 Live in the Cruiserweight division, wherever they feel Enzo would be the best spot. To me, I think NXT would be, but if they're going to keep going this way, that's fine. Then afterward, Big Cass come out there getting the KO punch from Big Show after attacking Big Show and getting to Enzo as well. So, what thoughts on the match and everything else that happened afterward?
Honestly, I tired of this feud. I really am. I didn't watch the match again, and I know it's not fair to me to, crap all over a show and when I didn't really watch a lot of it. I understand that, but just what they're giving us, I didn't want to watch it because they haven't given me a reason to really care. Big Show knocking out Big Cass was something, but it happened less. The only thing that was interesting about this was at the end of the show when Cass went to Kurt Angle and asked him for a match against Big Show with Enzo being caged over the ring, so in a shark cage. Other than that, which in that match I don't think will be even that good at SummerSlam, but I'll get there when we get there. But honestly, I just hope that no matter who wins at SummerSlam, this feud is over with. So Cass, Big Show, and Enzo can all move on from it.
Yes, and thank good Lord above that does happen because again at that point, well, we have that superstar shakeup. I know there's also been rumored that might be happening in WWE after SummerSlam on the 20th or upcoming here 20th of August. So this week's episode of Steve's Wrestling Ramble this Thursday will be its own like the go home show. It's episode before the big episode next week for the prediction show with team members, Kyron and others, and great guests that we already have lined up and otherwise. So yeah, hopefully this feud can just be letting go after SummerSlam. Enzo when it's the end, Enzo doing something else. Big Show doing something else in his own right, and Big Cass going on to bigger and better things. I think WWE has big plans for him, at least in this push. At least to me, it seems that way, and hopefully that being the case. Again, just want to give a shout out to those watching live. Welcome to like the video, and also thanks for interacting there between the two that I see that have been all night, Garrett Cameron and Jay Thomas. Keep that up as I see Jay Thomas talking about Triple H. Oh, Triple H's 70 men need to learn what brings the ratings in. I mean, Triple H should even make an appearance. The whole Kurt Angle angle, good one there. Kurt Angle isn't doing well. It's kind of So her opinion overall on that, with as we already talked about with Jason Jordan in his match and how we feel his booking is thus far since the quote unquote bombshell. Bray Wyatt attacking Finn Balor, with Finn Balor getting the upper hand and Bray Wyatt doing his little spooky promo thing. I'm over it. I've been over it. And I don't mean the feud, I mean Bray Wyatt and his things, because in the end, it really doesn't mean anything. He says all these things, and it gets to pay-per-view, and most of the time he loses. If he wins, it's only in the beginning of the feud, and he's never really one to actually win overall in a feud. So I'm looking forward to seeing Finn Balor, Demon King, but beyond that, it could even be a skippable match to me. Do other things while that match is going on, in my humble opinion. But what were your thoughts on the segment, and I guess thoughts heading into the match between Bray Wyatt and Finn Balor?
You know, it's sad that Finn, while he did cut a decent promo, pretty much summed up everything about Bray Wyatt. He doesn't care. He doesn't care about winning. And I don't know if that was a work or a shoot, but let's be honest. This is the thing about Bray Wyatt. While I do like him, this is how all his feuds work. Bray comes out, he cuts a promo, he goes on a rant. Well, not a good type of rant like me and you do. He says stuff that half the time doesn't make any sense. Then when it comes to the pay-per-view match, he loses, and that's how it usually is. Now, granted, he won a feud with Seth Rollins, but a dead clock is is right twice a day. It doesn't matter because WWE does this to Bray Wyatt all the time. They're gonna do it again because I don't have Bray Wyatt beating Finn, even though Finn has been getting the better of him almost every week. Doesn't matter. It wasn't a bad segment, but between these two, I just want more because I like both of them. And hopefully, I mean, I wish they wouldn't take Bray Wyatt's character just so seriously because of they made Bray Wyatt a character that we didn't have to take 100% seriously, like Broken Matt Hardy was. Then I think Bray Wyatt would be much more entertaining. But now he's really starting to bore me. And it wasn't always like that. When he first came to WWE 2013 to 2014, he was cutting really good promos and was very interesting. Heck, I was there the night he debuted. But now Bray Wyatt is really becoming a character who's just stale.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I can't say that any better than that. So we'll just move on. Dean Ambrose defeating the Raw Tag Team Champions Cesaro, and that match is good for my guy Dean, as I'm a fan of his. But again, with the situation or that situation after the moment between him and Seth Rollins, this time Dean being the one to do the Shield Fist something and whatever, waiting for Seth to do it back and him not doing it. I did not like that to the point of almost anger and going crazy. To the point of why you have Dean doing that when Seth is the one for the last couple of weeks wanting Dean to do that. Then Dean, after getting the win in the match, in attack, Seth coming out to help him actually, and then him just randomly changing his mind, and then he's going to do it. And then Seth, who's been talking about trying to get on Dean's good side to be together, is not then going to accept the fist bump invitation thing to officially reunite. I understand in the long run, and that what kind of got me off my anger issue thing. Holding it off to next week to the go home show to then have the match. But they should have done it tonight, even though this is the go home. So at the go home, we actually have them as a team ready to face the Rock Tag Team Champions. Whether it's going to be a tag team title match or not, probably would be. And it's setting up and maybe even having a contract signing. Yes, the Universal title deserves one more than the tag team one, but let's just say they both do. Whatever, for such shits and giggles. And then we have that move on in WrestleMania or SummerSlam, and we have the tag team match. But no, they have Dean Ambrose doing that. Seth Rollins, like I said, we've been chatting box about through the whole night about wanting this and wanting them to be a team again. I feel like for SummerSlam only. You have him denying him. So the little things that continuity to me just seemed off and kind of dumb to me of how that didn't happen. Again, I understand because they're holding it off for next week to happen and everybody to have to get the big pop reaction that it was going to get tonight. But it just was annoying me, the fact that they didn't do it tonight, which what they could have then done next week, as I alluded to on the actual go-home show for Raw into SummerSlam. So what were your thoughts on the match with Dean Ambrose, the Raw champion Cesaro, and then the interaction between Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose afterwards?
I actually thought it was one of the better matches of the night because both Dean and Cesaro are very good workers. And unlike you, I wasn't really mad that they didn't fist bump because I actually knew I know that they're saving that for SummerSlam. I just wish, like you said, it's funny how Seth has been trying to get on Dean's good side. Now he just walks away. It does. I see what they're trying to do, but it just doesn't really make sense from our point of view. I see what they're doing. They're saving it for SummerSlam, and I'm fine with them saving it till then. But at the same time, it's like, Seth, you finally got on Dean's good side, and yet you're not really accepting it. That's the part that really doesn't make a lot of sense. But once again, I just want to see, where it's going to go. I mean, obviously, I have them winning the tag. I actually have them win the tag team titles at SummerSlam, and that's when they'll do the fist bump. But that's I wasn't angry about it. I'm actually perfectly fine with them not fist bumping. They got it. I would not do that until WrestleMania. But overall, it was a good match, and the segment was pretty good.
Okay, yeah. I guess my problem being, and this is what I'm actually going to ask you here right now, is a hotspot question. To be honest here, how are we going to get to Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins versus Cesaro and Sheamus for the Raw Tag Team Championship next week, and trying, and doing that storyline wise, when in fact they're technically not together, right? You're talking about holding it off till SummerSlam to have that fist bump moment, them togetherness and this and that. So how do you then set up a Raw Tag Team title match with Dean and Seth with the Raw Tag Team champions next week when supposedly they're still not on the same page, right? So I'm trying to figure that out. How is that going to be pieced together, be part of the show of SummerSlam to get to what you think is going to be happening at SummerSlam, the fist bump? That's why I think it's going to happen next week, because that's what's going to have them align. And then near the end of the show, there'll be the quote-unquote breaking news. Kurt Angle has made the match official. Dean Ambrose and Seth versus the Raw Team Champions, Cesaro and Sheamus for the titles, and go from there in that kind of way. But in your thinking and in your booking, which I respect, I have no issue with it in that way. But I just was wondering, in your mind's eye, of how we get to that match if they're not cohesive team heading into WWE SummerSlam.
Here's the thing, I actually, it's hard for me to explain, Steve, because you know how WWE does head time there's books on it doesn't make sense. Here's what I think might happen next week, and I want you to quote me on this because it'll probably happen. Dean will probably ask, not Seth, but ask Kurt for a tag team title shot, because not particularly because he and Seth on a team together, but they both at one point beat a member of the tag team champions. Seth pinned Sheamus last week, and then Dean pinned Cesaro tonight. So they have a great to say, well, we beat both members in singles action, so why can't we get a title shot? That's the best I can do without making it sound too contrived. Even then, that's still a little contrived for that.
Okay, yeah, I was just wondering on how in your line of thinking, and you're right though. In the end, WWE sometimes just does stuff that's just random and just do it, and however, whether it looks corny or stupid or however they get to a point or get to a set ending. And being this match that probably will be part of the card, and if it is, and it should be, it's probably going to be one of those great matches, many great matches. It's going to be hard after SummerSlam, let alone in our prediction episode next week to predict a match of the night when we get after SummerSlam and the review, which we'll be doing right after SummerSlam, or I, at least myself, depending if my team members are too sleepy. And I mean, it is 4 hours of the show, 2-hour pre-show, so 6 hours total on the WWE Network of watching stuff that's WWE related. Some of my team members might not be in the mood to talk about it. But I at least will be here, and I think Mounty's Corner will be my guest, so at least we'll talk one-on-one about SummerSlam. But then Steve Dressing ramble with the team, talking about which one is the match of the night. So, yes, I'm looking forward to it in that kind of thinking. But again, if we're just going to find a weird way to do it, and even in your opinion, in that way of doing it, which, like you said, could happen, just would, to me, rub me the wrong way and be like scratching my head while it's happening on the screen. Like, okay, fine, whatever, sort of thing. You gotta get to this point, get to this point, get to the point of the match at SummerSlam, and however WWE gets to it, fine with me. It's just I would rather have had it not just my way, but what I personally opinionally think it could have been the best way. But finally, moving on that's from that subject, Akira Tozawa defeating Davari. 1-on-1 cruiserweight match. Again, no purple ropes. I think they're doing it for budget cuts. That's why shows were canceled network. And other things that probably might be canceled or might not be doing, which include Pyro. But anyways, Akira Tozawa defeating Davari. To me, cruiserweight division needs to stay on 205 Live. I've bloviated about that enough. So I'll get Kyron's thoughts on the match and the cruiserweight division overall.
I'm going to sound like a broken record, Steve, because for the fourth or fifth time I said this, I didn't watch this match. I didn't care. I mean, I was literally on my phone and iPad the whole time. I remember when, the first time I was on this show, and you said how you weren't looking for the Austin versus Neville because, it's the cruiserweight division as a whole. And we all freaked out on you for it. But now, I agree with what you said, and it's even more now, because at least with Austin Aries and Neville, they're both, really going to mic and have legit characters that you can be interested in. No disrespect to Akira Tozawa, but I just don't care about him. He's a really good worker, but working a match can only get you so far, especially when there's almost no storyline for the cruiserweight title match. So I can't really talk about it.
All right, respect that. Hey, some of the Raws in the past, I'm sure people have said they haven't watched specific matches or barely even watched the show in general. It's been that bad, at least their opinion. So I understand that. Respect that completely. Nia Jax defeating Mickie James and Dana Brooke in the second triple threat qualifying match. So next week it'll be, as you already said, Sasha Banks, Nia Jax 1-on-1, Jay's favorite, Nia Jax, Stephen A. Probably side with Sasha Banks. So those two from Talking WWJ, the other podcast that I'm really glad to be part of over there, which I do SmackDown reviews and part of Thursday episodes over there. Again, Talking WWJ here on YouTube. But Nia Jax getting the win over Mickie James and Dana Brooke. Yeah, we kind of saw that coming. We would have been more surprised in the other triple threat match if Emma won, as I stated earlier. That would have been a nice surprise for me personally, as I talked about Sasha Banks being John Cena of the women's division. And I stick to it. But Nia Jax getting the win here. Yeah, I hope she does win next week. Not because of the hometown curse, but because of other reasons. So hopefully that is what to be. But what are your thoughts on this triple threat match? Nia getting the win. Sasha Banks going to face Nia Jax next week. So I guess your preview and prediction to next week's Raw. And with Bayley predicting and wanting her friend Sasha to win and predicting pretty much that's who she wants to win, the boss, Sasha Banks. And with Alexa Bliss, they don't write kind of thing that, maybe it should be Sasha Banks sort of thing either as well. You think maybe they actually might do it? Actually might have Nia Jax getting the win and not Sasha Banks losing in her hometown. I'm sure it pissed off some people there. But beyond that, your thoughts on the match itself and Nia Jax facing Sasha Banks next week?
It wasn't a very good match. Obviously, Nia was going to win because I'm pretty sure almost everyone saw it was going to be Sasha and Nia next week. Honestly, I don't really care about that match next week because we've seen it too many times. I got Sasha winning next week and taking the title at SummerSlam also. But honestly, I don't care. I'm not trying to be disrespectful to the workers because they're really good workers. And I'm like, that's the last thing I ever want to do is be disrespectful to the people wrestling. But and I gotta get cut be a little slightly give some leeway because they had to quickly book this because Bayley's injury came out of nowhere and they weren't prepared for it. So I can't be too mad at WWE for this, but I wish they'd have been more inspired to book some better matches or something.
Yeah, I agree. I know a lot of people are kind of on SummerSlam being just pay-per-view of rematches and this and that, and people not being as hyped for a SummerSlam as they would usually be because it's SummerSlam. It's the WrestleMania Summer, second biggest show in WWE. To WrestleMania, that automatically with its own namesake could be able to sell itself, be able to be as many as most think. I go into the show as I do for really any pay-per-view, as I try to the best I can, thinking it's going to be pretty good, going to meet or exceed expectations, depending on what the actual card is and what's in front of me each and every month or twice a month, depending. And heading into this SummerSlam, the card that's already constructed and matches confirmed, ones that I think will be, like I'm sure even after next week's Raw and SmackDown Live, there might be one or two matches added to the card, thrown out randomly. That might be pre-show matches or however. I think it's going to be an okay, good type of pay-per-view, and hopefully it can overachieve because it's SummerSlam. I want it to be great. I want it to be awesome. I want it always, and each and every year, I want it to be 5-star quality material for the young. Again, it's SummerSlam. You want to put your best foot forward in that way as we will for the prediction episode next week. But going on to the main event, Braun Strowman defeating Roman Reigns in the last man standing match. Samoa Joe getting involved. Brock Lesnar no show there at that part. You're just there for the start. But at least you have the three number one contenders interacting in a way there in that match. And Braun Strowman getting the win. Like I said, the weird funny way that did happen with just randomly getting up so fast. I mean, they could have drawn that out longer and better as they usually do. I mean, on top of that game, but whatever. Braun getting the win. It is what it is. And we move on from there. Roman got the win last week in the match. Braun getting the win here this week. Samoa Joe might get the upper hand next week probably. And we're going to SummerSlam wondering which way will it go? Who will leave SummerSlam as the Universal Champion? So again, I asked what your thoughts on the match and on the Fatal 4-Way build up heading into SummerSlam.
I'll be honest, I actually really like this match. I saw a picture on a tweet. Like, we got to go through Reigns and Strowman again. But the counter argument to that is all their matches, well, for me personally, have been great, good to great. Fastlane Payback, Great Balls of Fire, especially. And the last man standing match today were all very good matches. And for the most part, they were selling very well, besides the ending. And I did like, the Samoan drop through the table was pretty good. Braun throwing the rolling chair at Roman, I like that spot. That made me cringe. It had good brawling, and I'll be honest, the spear Roman gave Braun at the end looked really good because he had a lot of speed and momentum, and it looked like it really did hurt. My problem is with the ending isn't the fact that Braun won. That Braun won. I expect him to because Reigns won a triple threat last week. My problem was one when Joe, started choking Reigns out. Technically, the rest should have continued to count because Reigns was still standing up and Braun was still laid out. So there was no reason he should have stopped counting because it's no disqualification match. And two, like I said, it was good selling besides that one moment of Braun just popping up out of nowhere. That really should have been worked out better. What I would have done if you were going to do it that way, just have Braun slowly make it up to the counter, slowly get up, and he barely makes it to the counter, and he barely beats the counter 10. That way, he still. I mean, it doesn't look as awkward as him just jumping up out of nowhere. That's just how I would have done it. Like I said, no problem with Braun winning because I expect him to, but I just wish that finish would have been worked out a little bit better.
Yeah, I agree. Like as I just stated as well, like that just seemed a little weird and awkward to me, and to those younger fans or ones that don't maybe have tuner or whatever, not in as deep as we are in the business and knowing of things, that having Braun just pop up there the way it was just look wrong to me, to be quite honest. I mean, they have these type of matches all the time. They have moments with superstars winning these type of matches barely. I know Braun, does the job well. It's not like he's not. He can't. So I think I agree with you 100%. It would have been better just to draw it out, have him slowly make it and barely make it stand at like 9.5 and get up and get the win. Or one of those things where he barely stands up, where he's technically up, so he gets the win because then he gets the 10 because he gets up at 9.5 and then falls right back down like this. So they're both laid out. Samoa Joe is technically standing above both of them, even though Joe didn't do a dang thing to Braun Strowman, but still having Samoa Joe visually above the fallen bodies of Roman Reigns and Braun Strowman at the end of the night. So Braun would get the win. He would fall right back down, this and that. And then you have the visual of Samoa Joe just looking all intense and everything, barking at both of them, not just Roman Reigns. Though I understand why he was against Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns got over on Samoa Joe last week in the triple threat match win with the spear. But to me, I think that would have been a better booking. Steve's booking there of the finish of Raw might have gone over better with the fans. Who knows? Of Raw if it ended in that way, in the way that I said. Now, also in the way that I said, it still doesn't involve Lesnar, which I would have loved to have him there. But if you weren't going to involve him, then have Braun win the way, like I said, I did, and then Samoa look it over both of them. So still, this Raw was worse than meh. Was just it wasn't a pile of what. It wasn't that, but it certainly wasn't great either. I don't know if I had to go grade it, give it a C minus. A C minus grade for Monday Night Raw. But Kyron, what would you give Raw as a grade? Anything less to say? And if not, welcome to share where people can follow you on social media and here on YouTube.
If I had to grade the show, probably give it a C minus, maybe a D plus, even if that's too nice of a grade. I didn't really enjoy the show. It's not the worst. Now, I'm not one of the people who lives in the moment. It's not the worst Raw I've ever seen. It's not the worst. It's probably not the worst Raw of the year. But I just felt like, I was falling asleep at points. It wasn't that good. Some of the booking I didn't really agree with. And who knows, I might be saying that after SummerSlam as well. Way to follow me on Twitter, SplashBro Kyron, Instagram, SplashBro_Kyron, Tumblr, Kyron Chase, DeviantArt, Kyron Chase. My YouTube channel is Kyron Chase. I just did a new video today with my younger brother about what every SummerSlam will be remembered for. And over the next few weeks, I'll be reviewing both NXT TakeOver Brooklyn 1 and 2 to get ready for NXT TakeOver Brooklyn 3 the night before SummerSlam. On my channel, I talk about wrestling, Sonic the Hedgehog, and My Little Pony Friendship is Magic. And I might be here tomorrow night to talk about SmackDown Live.
Yes, would love to have you on, but if you can't make it, that's fine. Definitely will be having you on Thursday, and follow him on Twitter at Special Kramer. Check out his latest video talking about SummerSlam, and then his video is coming up as he talked about going to be reviewing the NXT Brooklyn shows numero uno, numero dos, the past few years there in Brooklyn, New York. Also check out his other latest video if you are a fan of My Little Pony Friendship is Magic's review. Excuse me, the perfect pair. He realized, because like he said, I did my review of the show last week of My Little Pony, and I had Perfect Pair as my number 2 overall, and Karen didn't want to talk about it because he didn't see it yet. He got to see it on Saturday, and now he understands why it's number 2 on my list overall in the whole series. But thanks to those that are watching live and those that are watching archives. Welcome to like the video, share the video as well. Thanks for those that watched the start of it. I know I was promoting that part of it because I did have a lot to say and want to get things off my chest and be able to move on from there. And as always works, just share your thoughts and move on from there. Follow me on Twitter at WWE_podcast or Army_strong_06. I'll be back tomorrow for SmackDown Live review at 10 p.m. Central, 11 p.m. Eastern as usual, because I'll be over on Talking WWE with Jay first, right after the show at 9 p.m. Central, 10 p.m. Eastern for the SmackDown Live review over on that channel. So each and every week I talk SmackDown Live twice in a row over there and over here. Then I'll be here for Thursday for there will be news and notes and everything and all about. On Wednesday, I might be doing a video talking Jay Cutler and him being signed to the Miami Dolphins. No longer breaking news, but still is big news in the NFL for this week. And obviously for the Miami Dolphins and their situation. Again, hope everybody has a great rest of your day. Continue to have a great week. And as always, take care.
Peace out.